Now, as you know, nutrition is the science that interprets the nutrients and how they help fill our body. This morning, we are joined by nutritionist Ebenezer Miracle, a nutritionist who is passionate about healthy living, and he will be talking about carbohydrates. Are they really the enemy? Well, honestly, I can't wait to find out. Hi, Ebenezer. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very good. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, so Ebenezer, you know what? We're going to start off with you answering that question before we now really dissect the answer. Okay? So carbohydrates,
Okay.
are they really the enemy?
No, carbohydrates are not the enemies at all.
So when you say
They
carbohydrates
are
are
not
not
the.
the enemy, what then is the enemy? What then is the problem?
We are our own problems.
Ah,
Yeah, we are
why did
our
you
own
have to hit
problems.
the nail on the head like that?
Oh, I just had to hit the nail on the head like that. We are our own problems because before now, what we thought was a problem was fats.
Yeah,
Then from there we graduated. Now we are in carbohydrates.
yeah.
And maybe in 5 to 10 years time you face protein, but really the problem is we are our own problems because we don't check our lifestyle yet. We don't check our lifestyle. We do major junks. We are idle. We are sedentary. We don't want to move around. You see somebody that wants to lose weight, he wants to lose 10 kg in 2 days. The same 10 kg you put on in almost 3 months, you want to shed it in 2 days. So we
Miracles
are our
happen
own
now.
problem.
Miracles
Is
happen, don't
that?
you think? I said miracles happen.
Oh,
Just do
miracles are from
abracadabra
God,
and the
not.
fat is all gone. Okay, but
Yeah, they
seriously,
actually happen. But what are the implications?
okay, Ebenezer, now we've
Okay.
established the fact that carbohydrates are not the problem and all. So how then can we make use of carbohydrates in our diet in such a way that it will not be a problem at all?
Okay. Okay. Let me say this first. Carbohydrate is not even a problem. Carbohydrate is not even linked with any non-communicable disease at all. Even
Okay,
diabetes. Sugar doesn't cause diabetes.
really
Carbohydrate
now?
doesn't cause diabetes. Carbohydrate is needed in everybody's diet. Yes, carbohydrate is needed in everybody's diet. Everybody. Dick, Tom, and Harry, everybody. What happens is this, especially for brain function, there are nerve impulses that go through our brain, and they are only caused if there is the presence of glucose. Glucose is the fuel for the body and also for the brain also. The only place where carbohydrate is a problem is for epileptic children or epileptic patients, where they have to do away with carbohydrates and they have to go on a keto diet. What happens there
Okay.
is that when there's too much carbohydrate, glucose going through the brain, it gives too much nerve impulses. It's just like electricity.
Okay.
The nerve impulses I'm talking about is just like electricity. So when there's too much nerve impulses, you start noticing that they start having too much convulsions and too much jerkings. So that's when you can only move carbohydrate. But for every other thing, you
Yeah.
can't even see you can't see a food that doesn't have carbohydrate unless you just want to be drinking oil, vegetable oil.
And that doesn't help
Exactly.
anyway. Yeah.
It wouldn't help at all. Unless you just want to be drinking vegetable oil and be eating meat or fish. But for every other food you eat, carbohydrates are there.
Okay.
And we can't do away with carbohydrate. We can't run away from carbohydrates at all. Even the people that claim to go on a low carb, if you check the vegetables and the fruits they are eating, there's still carbohydrates there.
Okay.
So
But you know,
carbohydrates
since we
really is
have
not.
so much carbohydrates in our diet, then it's obvious that there's a lot to watch out for regarding carbohydrates. That's why I asked how can we then manage our diet in such a way that we don't, since you said it's not a problem, we don't abuse carbohydrates in our diets? How can we maximize
Okay.
it?
Okay, how you can maximize this is that there are carbohydrates from there are different types of sources of carbohydrates. There are carbohydrates
Okay.
from pulses. There are
Okay.
different sources of carbohydrates. There are carbohydrates from pulses. There are
Okay.
carbohydrates from wheat and grain and whole wheat and all. So we just need to know the ones that are healthier than each and the other ones.
Okay.
And if you want to start breaking down carbohydrate is vast. But for us to know which one is better off in our diet, is for us to know the ones that contain more fiber
Okay.
and the ones that have complex, yes, the ones that contains more of complex sugar, because carbohydrate has complex sugar and they have simple sugars.
Okay.
So for diabetics, the ones they should even run away from totally is the ones of simple sugar. But for the one of complex sugar, they can take that and take it in moderation.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah,
which ones
because like
make
I
up
said, you can't
complex?
not.
Okay. Which ones
No,
make up
I didn't hear
complex and
that.
simple?
Which one make up complex sugar? Our
Yes.
normal staple foods: rice, beans, bread,
Okay.
curry,
Okay.
cassava,
So what
yes,
then makes it simple
potatoes.
that is a problem for diabetes?
Simple sugars are mostly they come from sweets. They come from normal or refined sugar.
Okay.
Sometimes they even come from fruits. Yes,
Wow, wow, wow.
yes.
Okay, okay.
Sometimes
You know, this seems to me to be a very broad subject. In fact, I think if
it's
we're going to
very
talk
broad.
more
Yes.
about it, we'll probably have to really put it into different sections. But so far, so good. So far, so good. At least we've established the fact that carbohydrates aren't the problem. The problem is how you eat them, right?
Yes, yes,
Fantastic.
yes.
Thank
And
you so
apart from
much
how
for
you
your
eat them, how you burn them up
and
also.
how you burn them off. Exactly. Thank you so
Yes,
much for
how
your
you
time,
burn them. Because
Ebenezer.
how?
All right. Have
Okay,
a
thank you
great
very.
week then. Okay. So, and that brings us to the end of the second hour on Wake Up Nigeria. 45 minutes more to go. Stay with us.